Hello, YouTube, and I'm coming at you once again. And tonight I'm going to try to explain the best that I can. If anybody's ever heard of Cern, and Cern created a machine called the Hardron Collider. And what this machine does, its ultimate goal, I really believe, is to try to manipulate time and make this thing a huge time machine. It does other things. This thing can alter the weather. This thing can bring and basically bring together parallel dimensions. I could really go a lot deeper, but for time's sakes and attention span sakes, I'm going to try to get to this as fast as I can and as simple as I can. And I'm going to tie scriptures into why I believe Edom, which today is a so-called white man, why he created this thing, because he's trying to alter time and go back in time and rewrite the wrongs of histories that his people did. And I'm going to try to explain to you why he's doing that. And before I get into the scriptures, the real reason why he's trying to do that, he lost the birthright to Jacob. And so what he's trying to do is go back in time and try to alter that and try to get his birthright back. But he's not going to be able to do it because it was prophesied by Yahweh. It's going to be done. And there's nothing that Esau can do to overturn the prophecies of Yahweh. It's not going to happen. But this is what he's really trying to do. You know, why else would somebody that has all the money in the world and all the military power in the world and could command people to die at just a phone call or email, why would he want to go back in time? He's got everything. Well, he wants to go back in time because he doesn't want to lose his kingdom and his power and his demonic power over the earth. He doesn't want to lose that. He doesn't want to come to the terms that his time is up. So he's trying to alter the dimensions and alter times to try to get the birthright back. So we're going to start at Genesis chapter 25 for those that don't know what's going on. And Esau is the forefather of the Edomites, which is now the so-called Caucasian race. And this is going to go into why he's doing what he's doing. Now, going into Genesis chapter 25, starting at verse 19. And these are the generations of Isaac. Abraham's son, Abraham begot Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padam Aram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated to the Most High for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire to the Most High about the matter. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated by thy bowels. And the one person shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So Esau is going to come out of the womb first. But even though specifically the birthright comes to the firstborn, he's going to lose that. And he's going to have to serve his younger brother, Jacob, which came out of the womb second. So verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And the other that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So the so-called white man to this day likes to go out and hunt. He likes to camp. He likes to fish. You know, he likes to wrestle with bears and try to tame the wildlife because that's his nature. And the so-called black man, he likes to hang in the cut, hang at the crib, play PlayStation, smoke blunts, drink 40 ounces and stuff, barbecue. He likes to just hang around in the cut. And we do that to this day. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. See, Esau also liked his meat bloody red. And that's another characteristic of Caucasian people this day. They like to eat their meat rare. And therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day the birthright. So this is our forefather asking him, I'll feed you, man. Just give me your birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what proof shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him and sold his birthright unto Jacob. When Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So this is the part where the so-called white man, which calls himself the white man today, which really are Edomites. This is where he sold the birthright to Jacob. Now Jacob is the progenitor of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American people today. And you'll have some other camps dispute that and try to say, all Israelites are all Negroes, and that's not accurate. That's going more into feeling and going into searching books and histories to fit their own agenda and their own feelings. That's not biblically accurate. And then when you ask these guys that believe this, well, where the all 12 tribes are at, they can't tell you. So that's a whole nother teaching in itself. But also I'm going to go into the scriptures where it was prophesied how this man would rule the earth. And how we know today that this man, Esau, is the progenitor of the so-called Caucasian people. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Because at this point, Jacob, dressed up, and acted as Esau, got as Jacob's blessing when Jacob was on his dying bed. And he blessed Jacob. And as the prophecy was fulfilled, Jacob got the birthright and got the blessing from their father Isaac. So, going back into verse 39, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, that dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven and from above. So Esau basically got his heaven now. See, the so-called white man and the other nations, their heaven is right now. See, he got the fatness of the earth. He got the oil. He owns the stock markets. He owns the banking system. He owns the school system. He owns the religious system. Even as so much that the nations are worshiping his image. So he's in his heaven. Verse 40, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from his neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother. So the real chance that he really got to take out his vengeance on us was in the 1619 transatlantic slave trade. Now going even before that, if you want to go into the 1492, when he went down into Mexico, South America, and North America, various parts, when the conquistadors and the Spaniards and the so-called Portuguese, when they went down and conquered the Brazilian and the so-called Latino people and the Haitians and Jamaicans and the areas of Aruba and surrounding areas, Grenada, when they went and captured those areas and those peoples, those are the children of Israel. See, we got put out of our land and dispersed throughout the four corners of the earth as it was prophesied. So basically, this man is ruling the earth, and it's his time to rule now. And so what he's trying to do is take and build a machine at the Cern, which is the Hardron Collider. And what he's trying to do, he's trying to go back in time and trying to reverse what the scripture said. That's the real reason why he built this thing. And I believe that the spirit of Yahushua had dealt with me with that as I was learning about this machine and how it's functioning and what its purpose. And so this machine can even alter people's moods. For instance, you have matter, which is a solid object, and then you have antimatter, which is an object's matter in its purest form. It's basically the unseen things that give matter its energy. And that's where the spiritual realm exists. That's where Yahweh exists. Yahweh exists in the area of what you would call antimatter. And that type of energy and power cannot be contained. And what has happened is through Luciferian and satanic worship, the so-called Edomites have gotten satanic and knowledge from the spiritual world, from dark powers, and the dark powers have showed them how to harness this energy. And the energy that they're harnessing is also it's dark matter. It's what you would call dark matter. But biblically, you would call that demonic energy. And so they're able to take this matter and harness this thing in the Cern machine. And this thing, when you try to harness, the unharnessable into the spiritual realm, just a small drop of this stuff can, cause earthquakes when this machine goes off. It can cause storms. So a lot of times you'll see huge earthquakes in other places, and HARP, I don't want to leave HARP out, the HARP machine, that also does it as well. That's a whole nother teaching. But when you start dealing with this thing, this thing alters everything around it, because now you're colliding the spiritual realm, or the realm of the unseen, with the seen realm, or the things that you can touch. And this is why this thing was made. So for instance, like Chicago, let's say they got a machine and they move this machine or build a machine in Chicago, and they turn this machine on and they harness this demonic power, this dark power, or this dark matter they call it. Well, this thing can alter the moods of people in the city of Chicago. It can cause riots. It can cause people just to flip out and shoot at one another. They get petty. You ever seen that part of Ghostbusters where they had that ooze? And when that ooze got around the city, people's moods changed and altered. Well, that was the movie productions showing you what the Cern machine and what these scientists are doing. They can actually harness this dark energy, or this demonic power, this satanic power from the unseen realm, and actually cause riots. It's a weapon. They can cause governments to go unstable with this weapon. And that's just getting into a small fraction of what this thing does. But once again, the real goal to this thing is to try to control time and go back in time and try to alter what the Most High, Yahweh, has already put in writing. So I'm going to close out with that, y'all. Like I said, I can go forever with this thing, but I try to, promise that this thing would be fast and short and sweet and try to get to the point. But that's the real reason why this thing was created. And with that being said, Shalom.